I grew up in Birmingham. I was British, but my name was Eni Aluko, so I'm Nigerian.
Nice.
Growing up, I really only associate myself with being a Brummie girl in England. I didn't get my first British passport until I was like 13, 14. So effectively, I wasn't actually British. I didn't have my first experience with Nigeria until I was 12, and that was quite a bad experience. There was this constant tussle between like, I'm not really 100% British, I don't really know anything about Nigeria. Then I started playing for the national team, and then it's like, you always stand out because your name is not British. And people know that you are sort of a second generation immigrant. Just being able to say, well, what are you if you don't fit into either? But as I've grown up, I'm very much of the idea that we should embrace both. A world that actually tries to make you choose all the time, like, well, what are you? You know, are you British or are you Nigerian? Why did you play for England, and even though you're Nigerian? The quicker people can kind of accept that we're combinations of everything, the quicker it just becomes a much more layered conversation than trying to just box everything. It wasn't until I got to university that I met other Nigerians, I met other hyphenated people from different parts of the world, places I've never even heard of, that I was like, like there's a whole amazing culture behind this. And then I was able to sort of reconcile being an England player and a Nigerian. To Kill a Mockingbird was something that allowed me to aspire. That was a huge part of my education. That can apply to anyone, anywhere. I'm a big believer that everybody should have the opportunity to be the best version of themselves. And when that's restricted, I think that's a real problem. So I think I fight for that. Like, I fight for, you know, young girls who are now able to say, I want to become a professional footballer, which I didn't have. I could only look at the Williams sisters as role models because there was no women's football on TV. That young girl looking at football on TV can say, well, I want to reach the top. I think of like saying something or tweeting something or doing an interview. I always think, no, I'm in a position where I can actually impact that aspiration, you know, as a role model. Or, you know, I'm not perfect, but you have to, I really take it seriously, the ability to impact somebody's decision to become the best version of themselves. I try to always make decisions based on what's going to empower me as an individual, what's going to allow me to learn, like what am I going to gain from, like for example, going to Juventus. You know, I was pretty comfortable at Chelsea, probably could have, you know, played on there, but I would have probably been on the bench and been a squad player. Moving to Turin was not a comfort zone decision, but I was really excited about it because I was like, I'm going to learn a new language, learn a new culture. So it was all based on like, how is this going to grow me as an individual, but also potentially impact other people. I think that's what, again, going back to like Atticus Finch and just him just being this person that really wanted to empower and represent and, you know, do what was out of the ordinary, be that person that stepped out of his comfort zone. And I wish someone had told me, like, you need to be more motivated, like, to succeed, sometimes you've got to fail first. And it's a big lesson in my book, they don't teach this, like, the idea that, like, a lot of young people think they have to be perfect from the get-go. And when failure comes, it really cripples them. Whereas for me now, like, if I fail at something, I'm like, okay, well, it's it wasn't meant to be, or it's developing me to be better, or I wasn't meant to succeed at this time. And then you end up actually being better off for it, maybe the next year or 2 years later. I mean, it happened in my career with Chelsea. 2014, we lost the league on the last day of the season by 1 goal. I mean, it couldn't have been more devastating. I wanted to quit football there and then. I was like, this is just, I mean, I felt like a huge failure. Season later, next season, I was a little bit scared of putting myself in that situation again to fail. Ended up getting to the cup final, winning the FA Cup at Wembley, winning the league. But had it not been for that failure before, I don't think we would have been as hungry to win. I think that's a huge lesson for everyone. Like, don't be afraid of failure.